All right, have and have not fans. I gotta admit, I'm having more fun doing kind of like the side quest videos, if you will. What I mean by that is videos that don't necessarily have to do with recent episodes, but more like backtracking in terms of, hey, what happened to this character? Why did so and so leave the show? What would happen if this character teamed up with this character? I mean, honestly, I feel like this would be a great thing I should have done during the break between season 5 and season 4. But, during the hiatus, I wouldn't have gotten as many people, on board to watch. So I'm going to just kind of integrate these videos into my episode reviews and theories about the season as a whole. Now, this video is about Amanda. And again, I've already done countless blogs and videos about why did Amanda die? Why do I think it was a bad way for her to be written off? Is it a homicide? Is it a suicide? And the list goes on. This video was actually requested on a lot of my videos. Actually, I got the comment of just a couple comments here and there, but I got a lot of them of why did Amanda have to leave the show, and what happened. So I will say this much: I don't know why Jacqueline Beckham left the show, or was it Beckham? Well, Jacqueline, pretty much the actress that portrays Amanda Cryer. I mean, if you don't know her that well, especially if you came into the series maybe season 3, then it's for good reason, because she was killed off at the end of season 2. And aside from that, she's well known for, her husband is well known for being one of, if I'm not mistaken, like the main voice actor for Arnold on the Hey Arnold cartoon back on 90s Nickelodeon, which I grew up with. So I was, impressed when I found that out. I mean, honestly, I was disappointed when I found out she was married, because in season 1, honestly, I fell in love with Amanda during episode 1 and 2. That's just me. I mean, as soon as I saw her, I'm like, wow. Then I found out she was married. I was like, dang. But in terms of Amanda, I say, you know what? Well, Amanda's not married, so I still like Amanda. Then she got killed off. But anyway, so yeah, I found out that she was married to, Arnold, Hey Arnold in real life. And I was thinking, wow, she must be like the real life Helga Pataki or something, those two getting married. But all jokes aside, I don't, I did some research and I didn't find any concrete evidence as to why Jacqueline left the show. But let me put it this way, based off what I do know, and I'm pretty sure you all know this as well, that the internet can be a very harsh place. And again, this isn't me giving, hey, I know exactly why so-and-so left, but I will say that based off what I saw on Twitter, and again, remember now, I just started doing videos about a year ago, but I've been doing my blogs since season 1. But then of course I started out on Twitter just like all of you. I went on there, hashtag the haves and the have nots. Remember back in the day when it was hashtag the haves and the have nots instead of hashtag HAHN? Remember that? The reason I remember that is because back then I was doing theory questions, asking questions, tweeting the characters. You know how hard it was to ask a question with a 140 character tweet when the haves and the have nots took up a majority of that? Remember that? Well, anyway, I would just remember, during the Amanda scenes, especially after, season 2 was winding up when she got really psycho, there were just so many mean tweets and everything to, Jacqueline. That was messed up. And, in public, sometimes she would, joke around about some people coming up to her in airports and everything saying, hey, make sure you take your medicine. Of course, a reference to Amanda not taking her meds, supposedly. And, if I'm... And again, this is just me speculating here because based off what I saw on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, and again, I think I even read an article, and again, I feel bad for not remembering the source of the article. I did read it, that Jacqueline felt like the Amanda character wasn't doing much, was actually damaging her career as an actress rather than helping. And again, I did read that on a couple different articles on websites as well as, the tweets, but I will say this much, if that is indeed the truth, because again, I can't quote the actual sources where the articles were because this was back during the end of season 2. So this was a while ago, people. If that is true, I completely understand, because again, I'm not an actor or anything like that, but I can understand what she's coming from in terms of, if I'm not mistaken, she felt that, the role of a man, and again, this isn't me trying to put words in anybody's mouth. It's just based off the things I saw online. And of course, you can trust everything on the internet. Ha ha ha, sarcasm. But I can see where she's coming from because again, if her character wasn't getting the development she was hoping for. And I believe there was something mentioned somewhere about that she felt like Amanda wasn't growing, as much as she wanted to. I can see why. And I even did a video on this in terms of, it's same with Maggie Day. I didn't like how those two characters were killed off. Here's what I mean. With Amanda, I feel like there was so much more to learn that we didn't. Now, this is me not talking about the whole, her possibly being pregnant by Professor Cannon, or, the death tattoo by Quincy, because in the autopsy, we never heard the results of that. We just know that she was dead, and that was it. She had the funeral, and that was it. The only mentioning of something that might occur later on in the plot was when Jennifer told David that she speculates that the death was a homicide, not a suicide. That was it. We didn't have Jennifer talk about, well, during the autopsy we discovered she was pregnant, or she had this strange tattoo, on her, back. We don't hear any of that. Now that we have the new DA in there, we don't know if that's ever going to be brought up at all. So I just want to talk about season 1 of Amanda. And again, this is almost like a character analysis, because again, there's a lot to say. But overall, when we first meet Amanda, we have like this innocent, insecure girl who's trying to live up to her parents' expectations, but at the same time, she just seriously lacks confidence. Enter Candace, who did give her confidence, but in the worst way. It was more like, instead of finding confidence in herself, it was using her feminine wiles, so to speak, to encourage Professor Cannon for a retest, and that led to her being raped, and we all know how that went. Pretty much after that, Amanda was not the same at all. It was pretty much her being damaged, her attempted suicide, which led to her being in the hospital. When she got out, that just made her more susceptible to Candace, motivating her in the wrong way. Sorry about that, I'm tongue-tied tonight. And then that led to her fighting back against her parents for an inheritance, and of course Candace wanted to get the money herself. And we get to season 2, where we really see a shift in character for Amanda, going from stalker to literal psycho, from putting a gun down Cannon's throat to stabbing him in the back, getting together with Quincy, almost shooting Jeffrey, and finally leading to the final night at the dinner party. At that night, she killed herself, or allegedly killed herself. Now, that was disappointing to me, because there was so much. I felt like season 2, we didn't get any development from Amanda. We just got her being Candace's puppet, her lack of medications allowing the psycho to come out to becoming Cannon's stalker, and then finally, her death. I mean, yes, she was the apple of Jim's eye, but it was just sad. I mean, even, Quincy used her for his own motives somewhat, because in the long run, being with Amanda led to him confronting, that judge with the deep pockets that, you've been banging my girl. Yeah, that's what happened. So I was disappointed for several reasons. Number one, for Jim Cryer. Remember that the last time he saw his baby girl alive, he lied straight to her face. It was out in the front steps after Quincy left, and Amanda finally put the pieces together about, you've been screwing around with Candace, haven't you? And then Jim straight up lied to her face. And then that was the last time he saw her alive. And again, Jim, it's just, can you imagine that, like, the last time somebody you love, you lied straight to their face? And it's just, that was the worst part, because Amanda knew the truth. She just wanted to hear it from her own father's mouth, but he wouldn't say anything. He just lied. And then she died. And the reason and again, I said this before in the vlog, I really hated the season 2 finale, because number one, that episode just dragged on way too long. One of the longest scenes that should have been cut was the scene where, they're at the dinner party. Melissa's there, because Veronica made Jeffrey, have her as a date. It was Jeffrey, Dave, and Veronica outside, and then they were just talking about, how we're going to deal with this, Jeffrey being gay and his mom using the black sedan to blackmail him, and so what, and everything. Then that led to Quincy busting up the party, and then we have this huge jump from when Jim was like, David, find that son of a bitch, find out who let him out of jail, which was Veronica. And then he said, okay. Next thing you know, we see David and Maggie at the Sarandon Hotel. Then we get to the Crier house, if I'm not mistaken. We jump all over the place. We jump from the Serena Hotel, and then at the very end of the episode, I mean, actually, let me jump back. We are at the Crier house. Then we get to the part where Jim gets the text from Candace and gets abducted by Warlock and his crew. And then we flash forward to the end of the episode where David is contemplating, you know, sleeping with Maggie because Veronica's being such a bitch. He calls Veronica, but she doesn't pick up the phone. And in desperation and depression, he goes into Maggie's room. Then the episode ends with Amanda running around the house with the gun, and the gunshot went off. Here's why I didn't like the finale. And again, I feel like I'm doing this video about stuff I've already talked about, but still, I just put it together because this is my thoughts on Amanda leaving. Here's why I hated the episode, because number one, in the previews, we knew the gunshot and everything was going to happen. We knew that Amanda would be running around with the gun. I'm not going to lie. I remember the initial trailer of the episode where Amanda's creepy laugh was in the background. Like, that was some scary shit. Like, I was scared. Like, for real. Like, every time it came on, I told my mama, change channel. Like, I'm scared. Honestly, I'm not a horror movie fan, so that creeped me the heck out. So we go from that to... okay, all right, so we know that's probably going to be the cliffhanger ending of the episode, but what leads up to that? The episode, in my opinion, was really disappointing. Here's why, because remember that after, you know, Jim lied to Amanda's face, she ran into the house and supposedly, you know, she locked the door and she wouldn't come out. Here's what I hated. Like, we got no character development. I think Wyatt went in the house right after Amanda. So we don't see Jim trying to apologize. We don't see Wyatt or Catherine, you know, we don't see them. We don't see them checking up on her. We don't even see, like, you know, Amanda trying to call Candace or her having like a breakdown in her room. Like, I would have liked to have seen that. I mean, honestly, it would have been sad to see, but at the same time, I would have liked that rather than the whole Jacqueline Hyde crap where, you know, she seemed like almost like Benny. She seems relatively normal, and then out of nowhere she goes psycho. Like, I would have seen, like, you know, her going to her room, you know, changing clothes. Okay, that didn't sound right because early in the video I said I liked Amanda, but you get what I mean, like in terms of changing from the dinner attire to her, you know, night clothing, and, you know, like not seeing, you know what I'm saying, people, basically changing clothes, like in terms of, okay, we get that she's preparing for the, you know, preparing for the night, going to sleep. And remember, she has the gun under her pillow, right? Was it under her pillow? I think so. And that was the part that got me, is because here's my thing. And again, I want to stop I feel like I'm rambling. We never saw Amanda's reaction to the news. Yes, she was like, you know, crying at the front of the house and, you know, mad that her dad lied to her, but we never saw her react. We didn't see, like, you know, did she start to really hate Candace now because, you know, her friend had been lying to her? Because remember, she said that she's been putting pieces together for a while now in terms of, you know, like every time she would come back from studying, she would come back, you know, smell like your cologne and, you know, just stuff like that. So we never heard her in the room trying, like, you know, going off, you know, thinking about, you know, trying to call Candace and whatnot. I just wish we would have gotten, honestly, if we would have gotten that kind of development, you know, just seeing her reaction, and then she got killed or, you know, was killed off, I would have been a bit more satisfied than, okay, we're going to have Amanda run into the house. We're not going to see what she does. We're going to go back to the Sarandon Hotel. Then we're going to see Jim get abducted. And remember in the preview, remember that, guys? Amanda's going to be running around for gun. The reason I felt that episode sucked, in my opinion, was the fact that there was no real build up to the shooting. There's no build up. Yeah, we see her running around the house, but again, I feel like they definitely lack the emotional build up to that moment. I just felt like, oh, it was shoot horror, and then it's like, okay, this is the part you've been waiting for, so here we go. That's how I personally felt. So in my opinion, I felt like Amanda as a character wasn't just killed off. I feel like Amanda as a character was denied any kind of growth. She was denied any kind of true character development from this shy, insecure girl to this, you know, psychopath. I just felt like there was a lot of wasted and untapped potential for, you know, Amanda Crier, because I just feel like it was just sad to see her get killed off so quickly just because of that. Yes, I do think that her death was a homicide. I thought that since day one. Everybody thought it was crazy. I feel Amanda will be brought back into the plot, just like Jennifer's body, but it might be a little while down the road. Would I like to see Jacqueline back on the show? Heck to the yes. Honestly, as my mom has been saying since season 1, she thinks that, you know, Catherine's in a coma. She's dreaming everything. Remember, she went into surgery for, you know, the breast cancer. So it's possible that, you know, maybe in the final episode in 2019, that'll bring back all the cast members, the ones who have been killed off, and then Catherine's going to wake up with a new leaf on, you know, new view of life. So with that being said, those are my thoughts on in terms of why I believe Jacqueline left the show, how I felt about Amanda being killed off, and her potentially being, you know, brought back, maybe not as a character, but her, you know, death being brought back into the overall plot. So this video was for you all. You all wanted it, so you got it. So let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think of Amanda as a character? Was she cut off too soon? And would you like to see her back again?